Hello, everyone, and welcome into your weekend reading. This is for Saturday, April 20th and Sunday, April 21st. So, sorry this is a little later than normal, but I tried doing it earlier, and Spirit was just telling me it was not the time to do the reading. So, it's like, all right, recenter and try again later. So, let's go ahead and jump in and see what all messages are wanting to come through. So with our usual weekend format, I'll pull some cards for the collective, and then I'll go sign grouping by sign grouping, but within each grouping, I'm also going to pull cards, individually for the specific zodiac signs. So let's jump in and see what all messages we have. All right, for the collective, we have the Hermit in reverse, we have Ace of Cups, and we have the Knight of Swords. So our Hermit in reverse energy, this is kind of like that sense of being like unloved and exiled, like that feeling of really being alone and kind of out on your own. The Ace of Cups energy, this is going to be like your creativity and that feeling of love and like inspiration. And then with your Knight of Swords, this is that like, go get it. Like, come on, let's just do this. Like, all right, I'm ready to jump on this. So it's almost kind of like you're getting frustrated with this feeling of being like kind of unloved. And it's this sense of self-reflection, but it's definitely a sense of feeling like you're exiled, you're out on your own, you're separated from your loved ones. And it's like, you just want to get back into this feeling of creativity and love and being inspired. Like, and so just make sure that it doesn't turn into a reckless energy. It's like you're really trying to break free from this Hermit in reverse. And it's a matter of how do you do that? How do you get out of that energy into the new energy? So we'll take a look and see how that plays out for each of the groupings here. We will start today with our air signs. So let's go ahead, and that'll be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And we'll see kind of how this looks for those signs. All right, the Hanged Man. So this is that period of reflection, and it's like you're growing in wisdom, like you're separating yourself out. So I do feel like there's certainly this energy of bouncing back and forth between, the Hermit in reverse and the Hanged Man. So let's pull a couple more cards. What else do our air signs need to know about this situation? Five of Wands in reverse and Five of Swords. So our Five of Wands in reverse energy is going to be like you're looking for solutions and peaceful resolutions here, because this Five of Swords energy is this lying or dishonest, like ruthless energy. So you definitely have both of these forces going on, and it's almost like it's causing you to have to feel like you have to retreat from everything, retreat from the world, and just sit in your own little space. The other message that I'm getting is that it's very difficult for you to energetically balance right now. Like you just feel like you are having a really difficult time maintaining your own energetic field. And so because of that, it's like, I give up. I just want to hide. Mawu, Mother Earth, you are called upon to help with environmentalism. And then Diana, focused intention. Keep your unwavering thoughts, feelings, and actions focused on your target, and you will make your mark. So, this one about helping the environment, helping, like that, there might be themes of that, but, certainly in terms of, as it relates to this situation, I think it's some focused intention, like, where do you want to go? And I know I use this example a lot on the channel of how you need to know where you want to go so that you know what you need to say no to as it's trying to take up some of your energetic space. All right, then we have this one. Their heart isn't in it anymore. So who is it that you're, who is in your energetic space that just really, they're not necessarily concerned about being in your energetic space. Like, they're showing up physically, but they're just kind of like, and that's something that could be pushing you into this feeling of exile and You know, if you're picking up on the fact that their heart isn't in it anymore. So let's take a look at, here's one of the crystal oracle ones. Moldavite, synchronicities, chakra activating, and transcendence. So how do you transcend out of that scenario where you're in a space with someone who doesn't want to be in that space anymore, but isn't telling you that they don't want to be there, maybe. And some of that is going to be this dishonest energy. And how do you find the resolution to that? How do you move past that? So that is our general message here for our air signs. And now we're going to go sign grouping by sign grouping. And let's see what we've got. So we will start today with Gemini. And we'll pull a couple of these and one more oracle card. Oh. All right, so for Gemini, we have Knight of Wands in reverse, and we have King of Cups. So your Knight of Wands in reverse, usually this is that like fearless energy, or, you know, kind of that courageous of all the Knights. This one's kind of a little bit more of like the player energy. So in the reverse, you know, it might be less of that, but just still a little bit emotionally unavailable. And then we also have our King of Cups energy. So our King of Cups energy is going to be this like wisdom and balance. And so it's a matter of how do you find that sense of inner peace and wisdom and that balance of getting yourself out of like the up and downs, knowing that, their heart just isn't in it anymore. And they're looking for a way to try to move out of that situation. Oops. So how is it then, how do you proceed from a sense of wisdom and balance? How do you proceed in a way that is true to yourself and that can kind of clear up some of that stagnant energy? And this is that card, who's fighting for your inner child. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you're not chasing after something that's just not for you. So with the Hermit in reverse of feeling unloved and kind of like exiled, it could be that you're continuing to be present in a situation that maybe no longer really warrants or needs your presence. All right, so that is the message for Gemini. Let's take a look at Libra. What messages do we have for Libra? Judgment and the Devil in reverse. So for you, Libra, this is coming across that, yes, this period of reflection and trying to incorporate, okay, now how do I pull all this together? That is your way of trying to break free from this devil energy so that from a judgment standpoint, you can close out this lesson and be done. So remember with your lessons and with the judgment card, that's all about taking that final exam so that you can be done with this course. Are you doing that? Or are you continuing to spin your wheels? So if it's something where their heart isn't in it anymore, what do you do with that? What is your usual pattern that maybe you need to look at? How do I break that cycle? How do I get out of this feeling of being unloved? How do I break out of that so that I can end this cycle of, relationship connections? And let's pull one more of these cards for our Libra as well to see what other messages we have. You are closer to your goals than you think. So remember, as you're making your way through that minefield, keep that focused intention on how do I break free from this looping pattern. And you're getting close, like you are getting close. So don't lose hope. You're getting close to figuring out how to break out of that. Just takes a little bit more effort. Remember, this Knight of Swords is out. All right. Impulsivity. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll. Let's make some progress there. So that was for Libra. Now let's take a look at Aquarius. What do we have for Aquarius for this weekend? The Ace of Cups in reverse, and then we have our Page of Swords in reverse. So, with you, the Ace of Cups is the overall energy, but specifically Aquarius, you are struggling with the Ace of Cups in reverse, like you're feeling unloved, you're feeling uncreative, and that there's these different blocks. You also have your Page of Swords energy in reverse, which is this like cynicism and bluntness, like you feel like you're being manipulated. And to some extent you are. There's a lot of dishonesty here, and you're trying to figure out how do you find the resolution to that. And with the dishonesty part, I think it's the other person is making it appear or telling you that, yeah, their heart's in it, but it really isn't. And so how do you deal with that? How do you find your resolution? Well, your resolution is, keep that focused intention and really keep your eye on what is it that you want. And instead of, I don't want this, I don't want that, like, what is it that you want? How do you want to feel in your life? And then line up your actions and your relationships, be it, romantic relationships, business relationships, personal relationships. How do you line that up, to be able to bring yourself that sense of peace? And it's nice. This was the card I pulled as I was doing that. Ending this will bring you peace. So this situation, and as always, take only what resonates. Obviously, this isn't picking up on every single, person in the collective, but you'll know how this sits in terms of if this message is for you. So if their heart isn't in it anymore, ending it will bring you peace. Better to have an uncomfortable truth than a convenient lie. So make sure that you're staying true to yourself. What is it in your heart that you want? What do you want more of in your life, so that you can get rid of the things that you don't want that are taking you further from that goal? Because remember, we also have the Scorpio full moon on the 23rd, so that's coming up here pretty fast, and that is all about addressing things that really need to be addressed. And it could be, for all of the air signs, but especially here since we're talking about Aquarius, it could be that this relationship situation is the one that needs to be addressed. So that is the message for our air signs. And now we will move on to our fire signs. All right, so now we are on to our fire signs. What message do we have for you for this weekend? And this is going to be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So we have death. And so this is coming up, the death card is there's an ending to something within your life. It's not as big and dramatic as the Tower. So a lot of times, like, the death card will be things within your own headspace, like, certain ideas, certain repetitive thoughts, certain ways of doing things, certain beliefs. Let's pull a couple cards and see what additional clarification we get on this. And with the death card coming up in reverse, it's like there's a sense of fighting it. Like, that this belief needs to change. That certain behaviors need to go, certain self-defeating thoughts, or self-deprecating thoughts or whatever need to go. And there's like a resistance to that. So let's pull a couple more cards on that. Strength, it's going to take a lot of strength to do it. And death. So really strong message here coming in for the fire signs for this weekend's read. Death and death. So this means, definitely something needs to go. Some scenario, some loop that you keep getting stuck in needs to come to an end. And it's going to take strength to end that loop. But that's what you need to do, because you're sitting here feeling exiled, feeling unloved, feeling that. And what you want to be moving towards is this Ace of Cups energy. And so it's like this is dangling out there, like, here's your happiness, here's your love, here's, feeling creative and inspired and all of that wonderful stuff. And it's just like it's sitting there, just out of reach, because you're in this sense of exile right now. And so it's going to take strength, and it's going to take this Knight of Swords. All right, let's just do it. And so remember, all it takes in life is 20 seconds of insane courage, and it can absolutely change your life. All right, let's take a look at the Goddess card to see what comes up here. Mother Mary, expect a miracle. Have faith that your prayers have been heard and are being answered. So some of this too, now remember, and we talk about this sometimes as well, that when you're asking the universe for something, if you're wanting a miracle, expecting a miracle, and I really want this situation to change. Remember, very, very rarely, although I can honestly say I've seen it happen, but very, very rarely is it the hand of the Almighty comes in and boom, plucks you out of your living room and I'm going to put you over there. It doesn't really happen that way. What does happen is that an opportunity will present itself, and the universe is saying, here it is on a golden platter. Here's this opportunity. Are you going to take it? Are you going to take it? Are you going to take it? And usually, I'll put it this way. If you've been asking and praying for something and there's a certain lesson that you need to learn, the longer you wait, as this hand is out there like, okay, here it is, the harder the lessons get if you keep, batting it away. Nope. And that's kind of, it reminds me, there's that story of the guy in the, there's a flood coming, and so he climbs up on his roof, and the flood waters are getting higher and higher, and he's praying to God, please save me, please save me, please save me. And then shortly thereafter somebody comes by in a rowboat. They're like, here, jump in. And he's like, no, that's all right, I prayed, God's gonna help me, God's gonna save me. And they're like, okay. Then somebody comes by in a speedboat, and they're like, come on, mister, jump in. And nope, I've been praying, I'm good right here, God's gonna save me. And they're like, no, come on, like the waters are rising. And they're like, nope, I'm good. And then the rescue helicopter comes in, and they lower the basket like right in front of the guy. And he's like, come on, get in. And the guy's like, no, I prayed to God, he's going to take care of all this, he's going to save me. And the guy's like, you are literally about to drown. He's like, nope, I have faith. And then, yep, the guy drowns, shows up at the Golden Gates, and he's like, God, why didn't you save me? And he's like, I sent you a rowboat, a speedboat, and a helicopter. Like, I was trying, but it's like, if you're so fixated on what your miracle looks like, you might be missing the miracle that is actually there right in front of you. All right. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Eckhart Tolle. So this, and I love that, because when people say, oh, well, I don't know how I ended up here. Well, you kind of do. So if you don't like where you are right now, part of it is not saying, well, I deserve it, bad things happen to me, I deserve it. It's saying, to some extent, you chose it, whether by affirmatively choosing to do something that brought you closer to this place, or by refusing to do things that would keep you from getting to this place, that's a very, very hard pill to swallow, because no one likes to look back and say, well, I really should have done something. But like the guy in the boat, or on the roof, you really should have jumped in the rowboat or the speedboat, or you could have jumped in the helicopter basket. All right. Platinum 7 quartz, super 7 quartz, platinum goddess, bliss gold, relaxation, guidance, and inspiration. So part of it is, what are you being inspired to do? And that guidance, ask your spirit guides for help. Ask, whoever you pray to or meditate to, God, Jesus, the archangels, Allah, however you go about that portion of your life, ask for help, ask for guidance, and then be open to listening at what you get back. So it may not be the exact message that you are hoping for. It may not look the way that you're hoping for it, but make sure that you're keeping your eyes open and your ears open as to what message are you getting back. Like the guy on the roof, when he's praying to God to save him. he had an image in his head of what that looked like, that it was going to be this big hand from the sky, oh, the clouds part, and here, step onto my hand and I will save you. But that's not what it looked like. But, you know, he was sent his salvation, and he didn't take it because it didn't look like what he thought it was going to look like. So make sure that when you're asking your guides for help, and when you're asking for this miracle, that you look for it, that you keep your eyes open and see what that is. All right, so now we're going to do sign by sign, and we will start with Aries, Ace of Swords in reverse, and King of Wands. So with the Ace of Swords in reverse, this is a little bit about that energy of confusion. You have this lack of focus, and there seems to be this chaos about what is it that I should do? I don't even know. And then your King of Wands energy is going to be this like energy, this leadership energy of like you're meeting your challenges, but you just, there's still such confusion. Like you want to try to do something about it, but you kind of don't really know what to do. So a lot of it, you know, and I talked about this in the earlier reading too, is you have to figure out where you want to go. Because if you don't know where you want to go, it's hard to evaluate what options you have and what paths to take when you don't know where you want to go. That whole thing from Alice in Wonderland when she asked the Cheshire Cat, you know, which path she should take in the fork in the road. And he's like, well, where do you want to go? Well, it doesn't really matter. Well, then it doesn't really matter which path you take. So you have to be clear about where is it that you want to go. Something needs to end, and you're resisting letting it end. And I think it's out of a place of fear because the Strength card is coming up. You need to have the strength to affirmatively do something different to end some of those thought patterns and let those thought patterns die so that you can move in a healthier direction. You're stronger than you realize. So going with the Strength card. You are stronger than you realize. So make sure that you're focusing your efforts on where is it that you want to go. And then, you know, do that, have that push of, okay, I can get there. I really can. I just need to have a little bit more strength. Expect that miracle and then keep your eyes open to see what does that miracle look like when it comes in. All right, so that was our message for Aries. Next up, we have Leo. So let's see what additional words we have for Leo. Oh, one that jumped there was the Tower. So something big is happening. And then we have Page of Cups in reverse. I think this is the first time I've seen the Tower card in this deck before. So, you know, normally in this, it's showing people jumping out of the tower, but since it's a dog deck, they've decided not to have dogs jumping out of the top of the tower. And then your Page of Cups in reverse. So that's going to be this kind of this immaturity and insecurity about the situation. But really and truly for Leo, there's a big tower moment that's coming in because of the fact that there's these, whatever these thought patterns are, whatever this scenario is, that really needs to be let go. And it's almost like there's been this resistance to it. And so at some point, the universe is like, all right, let's tower this. But that can also be, you know, because that's coming with the immaturity part. So it's coming with this Page of Cups energy, like, hey, if you're not going to, you know, if you're not going to stand up and do something about this, that the universe is saying, you know, all right, that whole hold my beer, and all right, we're going to show you how to do this. But one of the ways that you can, I'll say, when I say control the situation, that sounds bad, but if you take the lead in creating the tower moment within your life, you can usually direct it a little bit better. So it's kind of like, you know, when they do the controlled detonations and explosions for a building when they're trying to collapse a building, like if you know that the building is going to end up potentially collapsing on its own, if you set the charge, like when the teams come in and they set the charges and they do it, they can control the way it happens so that, yes, the building's coming down, but it's not, you know, having as big of a fallout zone because of the fact that they're doing it in a controlled manner. So it's kind of like that here, that if you keep burying your head in the sand and saying, no, I don't really want to do this. I don't, you know, I'm dragging my feet. I'm holding out on this. the tower is coming down. It's just a matter of, do you want to be able to control the way it does, or do you want to just let it, everything happen, and I'll pick up the pieces later. And then there's this card, practice makes permanent. I had a track coach that used to say that, so that's why I put it in here. Sometimes people say practice makes perfect. Practice makes permanent. So if your practice is, oh, you know what, I'm just going to kind of be a pushover in this situation, but when it really counts, I'll stand up for myself. No, because if you let yourself be a pushover pretty much all the time, when it really comes down to it and you really do need to stand up for yourself, you have so much practice and so much, call it muscle memory, of being a pushover that you're not going to stand up for yourself. And it's, so even like with high level athletes, practice makes permanent. You have to practice in the same way that you want to perform, because you will remember how to do it better. So make sure that you're not taking shortcuts as it relates to this situation, leading up to whatever that tower moment's going to be. All right, Sagittarius. Let's see what we have for you. We have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and we have the Lovers. So your Knight of Pentacles in reverse energy is going to be this like kind of this laziness, this lack of direction as it relates to the Lovers. Is either about an actual romantic situation or it's about a big decision. So I would say based on the rest of the spread, I'm going to guess for a lot of you it's a romantic situation. And so there's that sense of a little bit of that laziness with it. But remember that communication is key. So the Lovers card is also Gemini, which is communication. So you could be dealing with a Gemini. And this is saying that things need to come into balance. So the Oracle card is, if you aren't happy, make different choices. So you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting to get different results if you're not changing up what you're doing. So, with you, if it's this irresponsible, lazy energy as it relates to this relationship, that's probably what you're being called to end. Like, you can't have that approach to it, because it's leaving you feeling like this unloved sense of exile, like this separation, because of the fact that you're being lazy and unengaged in the relationship. So if you want to be able to get to that place of happiness, get to that place of feeling loved and inspired and all of that, like, you have to make different choices. You can't be lazy and expect the other person to come in and do all of the work there. So that part needs to change. Or if you're just really uninspired by the relationship, then you need to look at, why are you continuing to be in it? If it's leaving you just feeling that sense of exile and then you really need to take a look at, why are you still choosing to energetically engage in that situation. So that was for the rest of the fire signs. And now we are on to our earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Let's see. The World. This is so weird that like so many of these are coming up in reverse. I don't know. Must be the way that I'm flipping them. So the World in reverse is, it's stalling out. Like, there's something that needs to be coming to an end, like some cycle that really, really needs to end. And, because that cycle is leaving you feeling unloved, feeling like you're separated, like you're out in exile, the sense of rejection, and yet you're continuing to not want to see what is the lesson there that needs to be learned. So, okay, jumper card there. We have our Page of Wands. And then we have Three of Swords in reverse. So, your Three of Swords in reverse is going to be like overcoming that heartbreak, like this optimism and like moving on. And then with your Page of Wands, yes, in the upright, there's the sense of like happiness and excitement. So So you want it, like, this hermit energy is what needs, or this hermit in reverse energy is what needs to come to an end. Like this feeling of, ugh. But in order to do that, you need to learn your lesson and you need to incorporate that. And then once you do incorporate that, then the next energy that's wanting to come through for you is this sense of like moving on, this sense of optimism for the future. But as long as you continue to churn that lesson, you're not going to get to that point. So it looks like for our earth signs, it really is a beautiful message of allow that lesson to happen. And there's so much good stuff that wants to come in, you know, moving on from the hard part. Your Ace of Cups energy, which is that inspiration, that love, that creativity, like all of that good stuff wants to come in, but you have to finish out that other lesson first. Transformation. It's Butterfly Maiden. You are experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. So as you acknowledge what these lessons are, you can transform your experience. You can transform that feeling of rejection and being like out in the cold. You can transform it by learning what this lesson is and applying that and incorporating that. Because remember, it's not enough to just identify what the lesson is. You need to actually act on it. You need to implement something related to that lesson. So the example I've used on the channel before is, you know, if you had a heart attack and the doctor said, oh, it's because of, you know, lack of exercise and poor diet, it's not enough to say, oh, that's what caused it. Okay. If you're just going to go back home and make zero changes whatsoever. Like you have to actually make those changes in order to see a different result. And then this card, every choice is a brick in the wall. So every decision, especially, you know, so like I use that example of, okay, if you had a heart attack and the doctor said it was poor diet, lack of exercise, every choice you make is a brick in the wall, one way or the other. Okay, do I want to have a salad or do I want to have a big old greasy double cheeseburger for lunch? Do I want to take the stairs or do I want to take the elevator? And I'm not saying that every single decision has to be 100% totally, you know, like be patient with yourself. But if every time that decision comes to you, do I want to take the stairs or the elevator? If every single time you take the elevator, you're shortchanging yourself on the exercise part. If every single time you have a choice of, do I have, you know, 3 donuts for breakfast or do I have a piece of fruit or a cup of oatmeal? You know, if every single time you're making the other choice, like it's going to build your wall differently. So you're going to get a brick wall one way or the other. It's just a matter of what does that wall look like. All right. Then we have Sugarlight Platinum, wholeness, forgiveness, and dreams. So this, and I feel like this actually goes really well with this card, because of the fact that this is about kind of like holding on to the past and not wanting to move on, not wanting to learn from those mistakes. Part of the key here is forgiveness and allowing yourself to be whole on your own. But you have to forgive not only, you know, in a lot of situations, there's probably some anger, resentment, whatever, towards another person, towards a situation, towards a job, towards a family dynamic, but it's also about forgiving yourself. And, you know, sometimes people look back and say, oh, how could I have done that? Like, why did I do that? That was so stupid. But you need to remember, you know, fine, maybe some of the decisions you're going, yeah, I really shouldn't have done that. But some of them too, you can't judge a decision you made, you know, 20 years ago based on, I guess I haven't even called what I was shuffling for yet. You can't base your judgment or your evaluation on, based on what you know today and where you stand today. So based on what you knew, you know, whatever, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, what you knew, how far you had developed, that's really the more appropriate way to see it. You know, and I mean, it's easier to see with other examples, but if you're a concert pianist, you can't really look back at, you know, recital performances from when you were 10 and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe, how come I didn't get those notes right? How come I made those mistakes? It's like, oh my gosh, you were 10. Come on. Like, I wouldn't expect that same level of perfection, out of a 10-year-old as I would a concert pianist who's been doing this for 15 years. Okay, so we are going to start with Taurus. We have Death in reverse, and we have the Nine of Swords in reverse. So, so interestingly, Death in reverse was coming up for fire signs as one of the big push energies. And actually, then it also had Death in the upright. So you might be dealing with a fire sign if you're in a relationship, and both of you, like, there's something that needs to change, and neither one of you wants to let go of it. So there's that energy, and then we also have our Nine of Swords in reverse energy. So this is about like seeking help and wanting to move on. So some of it could be a matter of, for some of you where something needs to be let go of, something needs to end. You might need help doing it. Whether it's seeking counselors, advisors, guides, therapists, but something needs to end. Like you're holding on to something from the past, and that's also going with this World card. World in reverse is that it's like this is pushing you further and further into a feeling of exile and being unloved, because it's like you don't want to let go of something from the past, even though that's what you need to do to close out this lesson. But it's just kind of this like stubbornness of digging your heels in when there's all this other beautiful energy here about like good things want to come through for you, but you have to let them. In 20 years, what will you remember? So some of it is a matter of principle, like, is it that you are having trouble forgiving somebody, but when you look back on your life 20 years from now, what is it that you want to remember? Like, well, look at that. I guess I made it. Or do you want to look back and say, that was tough, but I'm glad I made the tough call. So that goes along with that book, that Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And one of them is, I wish I had lived a life true to myself rather than the life others expected of me. I wish I had let myself be happier. I wish I had had the courage to tell people how I really feel. All right. So Virgo, because Virgo's next, we have our Four of Swords energy, which is about rest and recuperation. And then we have our Six of Pentacles energy, which is about charity and helping other people and being generous. So some of this is you do need some of this time to rest and recuperate. So you might be feeling kind of unloved right now, but some of it is like if you feel like you're out in exile, you kind of need a little bit of time because it seems like it does seem like part of this message too is that your charity and your generosity is leaving you feeling just totally drained to where you do need to recover from that. So that could be a message for some of the Virgos out there of don't drain yourself so much just for the sake of other people. And then don't confuse chemistry with compatibility. So this is one of those cards of if this is relationship related, which that's kind of the way it's reading for a lot of these, is just because you may have great chemistry with somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're compatible. So are you giving and giving to the situation because it's like, oh, but the chemistry is really great, but your underlying values are not compatible, and so it's creating scenarios where you feel like you're out on your own, like you feel like you're kind of abandoned and exiled, but you have that sense of, yeah, but the chemistry is really good and I don't want to give up on it because I've already invested so much time, and that could be what's keeping you in the past. So that is the message for Virgo, is really take a look at the situation, and is there a long-term compatibility, or is that something that, you need to take that impulsive action and say, all right, I need long-term compatibility. It can't just be like, oh, it's great sex, type of thing. So, all right, Capricorn, let's take a look and see what specific messages we have for you. Page of Pentacles in reverse. I think we've already had that. And then we have our Six of Wands in reverse. So the Page of Pentacles in reverse energy is going to be kind of, again, some of this like laziness and lack of direction because of the fact that you feel like defeated or disgraced or disrespected. So, as you kind of have pulled away from other people and you're sitting there in that energy, it's like there's a sense of disgrace within the relationship, and it's making you kind of lazy. Like for some of you, and this might be more work related, like, did something happen that's leaving you feeling lazy? Like, you know what? I don't think this job is for me anymore. Like, I don't think I can conduct myself the way that other people are conducting themselves. I don't want to quit another job, but I don't know what to do with that. So make sure that, get ready for some transformation, like, because that's not the energy you're supposed to be sitting in. But let's pull a timing card and see when does Capricorn look to kind of be getting out of that energy. More than a year out. Eek. So that, and when that comes out, like whenever cards come out like this, if you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, really? I'm going to be stuck in this situation for another year. That's based on the energy today. So if the energy is, I'm out on my own, I'm holding on to the past, I'm not doing anything about it, then yes, it's going to take a long time to resolve. But if you're willing to change, you're willing to lean in, you're willing to engage in the solution, then it looks different. So in this one, the no one cares, quit your whining. This is more like, okay, you can't keep saying over and over that this is a problem, and then not do anything about it. So everybody has challenges, but this no one cares, quit your whining. It's kind of like you either need to stop continuing to identify with the problem or, identify with the solution. So to just continue to churn a problem over and over, but not come up with a solution, not address it, you either have to reframe in your mind, is this actually a problem? Or you need to come up with part of the solution to it. And so that's kind of that sticky space that it feels like Capricorn is stuck in right now. All right. Now, last but not least, we are on to our water signs. So this is going to be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Let's take a look at what we've got. The moon. All right, so we have the moon in reverse. This is going to be some of those repressed emotions, and like you're just not, it's kind of like self-delusional. So the moon a lot of times is about like other people deceiving you, like trickery, illusions. In the reverse, it's more heavily weighted towards you're telling yourself the lies. And some of it could be that, oh, well, this will get better, but really maybe it's not. Okay, let's pull a couple cards to see what additional context we have on that. We have Five of Cups and we have Seven of Cups. So this is about lots and lots of choices, but with your Five of Cups, that's like this grief. You're grieving the fact that you have these three cups that are knocked over. There's still two that are standing though, and you've got a lot of other choices in front of you, but you're kind of, the delusional part, or like the part where you're telling yourself a lie, is that, nope, there's no other choices. It's just those three cups, and look at that. There's nothing I can do. And so it's almost like this energy of like wallowing in that, as opposed to saying, hey, I already still have two cups standing, and there's all these other ones out here. So that's what's keeping you in that hermit mode. And some of this impulsiveness of the Knight of Swords, like you need to look at that and say, okay, I've got to stop focusing on the three that are knocked down. I'm focusing on these two and the other decisions in front of me. We have Aphrodite, inner goddess. Awaken the goddess within you through dance, self-care, and appreciating your divinity. So you might be in a situation where you feel like you've been beaten down is maybe not the right word. That was a jump card, so I'll keep it. But you feel like you've been taken for granted, or, not really fully appreciated. And this card is reminding you, no, you need to sit in that powerful goddess energy. And that will help you identify, like, hey, I do have all these cups. Okay, so the one that jumped was sit in the stillness and a new path will emerge. So you may not know exactly, with this Knight of Swords, you may not know exactly what direction it is. And you may be like, oh my gosh, there's just like so many options. I really don't know. But you, to some extent, for you, the energy here, water signs, is you know where you don't want to be. You don't want to be here. So if you don't know which direction to go, yes, you can sit in the stillness and wait for the path to emerge, but at least start, like, maybe you don't jump all the way over here, but at least start to kind of make your way out. If you're doing it with all of your heart, you will succeed. So there's a little bit of that energy, that some of the self-delusion part, but I'm just going to fail, so why bother? Maybe I should just stay here. Maybe I just need to stay put where I am because it's not going to matter what I do. Make sure that's not the mindset that you're in. Approach it with the energy of, I'm putting everything into it. I'm going to succeed. Look at me. I'm a goddess. And that will help with this, with getting you these better results. So it's kind of that confidence. This goes really well with the Knight of Swords, with the red here, that, he's doing it with all his heart. He's like, come on, let's go. Let's get this going. If you have citrine or aqua aura quartz, those would be good ones to work with in terms of meditating. We have confidence, self-esteem, and expansion. How can you be in that expansive mindset as opposed to, oh, this is the little box that I'm born into and I have to stay here. I can't do anything else. Like, how do you expand? How do you raise your confidence and say, yeah, I'm gonna embody this Aphrodite energy. Alrighty. And here we go. We're going to go sign grouping by sign grouping. We're starting with Cancer. Let's see what we've got. We've got the Hermit in reverse. And we have Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So, Cancer, and I am sorry if you're having a really tough time now, because to have the Hermit in reverse twice is definitely those feelings of exile and really feeling that sense of rejection. Queen of Pentacles in reverse, there's kind of this almost like greedy selfishness, like you're so tired and exhausted and fed up with feeling this sense of like rejection, and you know what, things just aren't going to change, that it's putting you in this kind of greedy, selfish energy of, I don't care what I need to do, but I need to get out of it, so that to some extent it's good if that's helping you get out of it in a positive way, but make sure that you're not lashing out at everybody around you. Like, well, if I can't dig myself out of here, I'm pulling all you guys down in here with me. Like, make sure it doesn't turn into that sort of energy. Make sure that you focus this and harness it into that, all right, let's do this. Let's get ourselves out of this situation type of energy. Now let's pull one of these. Ooh, this one is a hard one to read because those were weird colors that I chose for that. Lessons will repeat until you learn. So, yeah, some of the color choices turned out better than others. But the lessons will repeat until you learn. So with that, if part of you being out in this sense of exile and out on your own, if part of that is because you have these deep repressed emotions and you're not really being honest with yourself about what got you here to begin with, you're going to keep looping and repeating. So it's really important during this time that, yes, there's a lot of sadness and sorrow about being here, So Cancer, that's understandable, but make sure that part of your healing process, like of digging yourself out of it, is acknowledging what your role was in getting you there to begin with, because otherwise that lesson's just going to keep repeating over and over. So make sure that you're really focusing on what is the growth, what is the lesson there. All right, Scorpio. We have your full moon coming up here soon. Let's see what messages we have for you. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. And we have the Nine of Cups in reverse. Lots of Cups energy here. So Four of Cups in reverse, Nine of Cups in reverse. So this is a little bit of that sense of like self-awareness and accepting what can't change. And there's also this sense of disappointment, like you're unfulfilled. So it's kind of that as you're sitting here in your exile or your rejection, there's a sense of sadness about like, I can't change, this situation is what it is. Like this situation can't be changed. Make sure that you're thinking that about the current situation, not about your life in general. Sometimes when you're in that sense of solitude and, if you have a sense of rejection, it's easy to be like, you know what? It's not going to change. Nothing I do matters. Don't let it turn into wallowing energy. Let it become that energy of, I can't change this situation, so I'm not going to stay in it. And if you can view it like that, then relief shall come quickly. Because this situation has been disappointing, and if you can't change it, then you need to look at getting out of the situation. If it's making you unhappy and you're accepting that it's not going to change, like the relationship, that situation is not going to change, then you need to change yourself and you need to change your environment. And I love it. There was a meme that says something about if a flower doesn't bloom or if a seed doesn't bloom, you don't blame the seed, you change its environment. Put it in different soil, put it in a different situation. All right. So that was Scorpio. Last up, we have got Pisces. Let's see what wants to come through for Pisces. The moon in reverse and Eight of Swords. This is really crazy because as I've looked at these, we've had a number of them. And I'll have to go back and see which ones they've been. But where, we have the same card coming up here and coming up here, or here and here. So whenever that happens, that means it's a really strong resonance with that particular sign. So Pisces, the moon in reverse has come up twice for you. So what repressed emotions do you need to deal with? What kind of self-delusional, like what situations are you not being honest about? So there's that Scorpio full moon on the 23rd. So that is Tuesday, I think. Really work on between now and then identifying what is it that needs to change. Like what is it that really needs to go? Because you're not being honest with yourself about something that needs to change or something that needs to go, and it's leaving you feeling trapped. So this hermit energy, you feel like you're out, kind of out in the cold and you're unloved and you feel trapped. Like there's nothing I can do about the situation, but there is. So remember with this card, when you look at it really close up, the dog has, a blindfold on, so it can't see. So that sense has been taken away, which, should heighten the other senses, but it's also tied up, so it feels like it can't move. But the swords are behind it. Like for the most part, the swords are behind it. I think there's like one right here that's up in front of it, and, I guess this other one's maybe kind of. But have faith in the divine. So at its feet, there's, some water coming in here, and that's usually blessings from the divine. Baby steps, just baby step your way out of it. Don't let yourself fall into the trap of thinking, oh, well, I guess this is just my lot in life. I'm just destined to have to suffer. Don't let that become the message here, because with our Five of Cups in reverse, there's that sense of loss and sorrow. But don't let that become your takeaway is, oh, I'm just destined to be unhappy. Like, you're not trapped. You can get out. You just have to take baby steps out. And then your hard work will pay off. So even if it doesn't seem like it now, when you're taking those little baby steps, you know, those baby steps all add up to something. So your hard work will pay off, even if you think, oh, I don't know, you know, but do it with all your heart and, you know, have that energy, that go for it. I've got to go for it. I've got to get out. And it will yield positive results for you. So I hope that you found this message to be helpful, but as always, take only what resonates. And I will be doing some other specific videos besides just the daily reads. So make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when these are posting to the channel. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.